go live. Okay. All right, now I'm live. So thank you guys for joining. Last week, if you joined, then you might have gone through, we went through GA4 data model and how it's different from. So there was something else playing in the background here, right here. So last week, I lost my thoughts here. Why does this keep popping up? Can you guys hear me okay? Leave a comment. Right? Okay. So what we're going to be talking about today is GA4 reporting interface. Last week, we talked about the data model and how UA is different, how GA4 is different from UA. So we went through all those things, talked about the data model. Two key things to remember from last week are events and user properties. Events have parameters and users have user properties. So remember these two things. Those are the main ingredients of GA4 tracking. So you have a user who comes on your site or app or any other place and does some certain activities. Those activities are called events. How you provide more context to those actions or events is by passing event parameters. So what I mean by context is the information that tells us what happened. Not only, say, for example, not only a button was clicked, which is an event, but what button was clicked, what was the text on that button. You can even pass on certain other information, like which page the button was on, how far down the page button was, and all that stuff. Those are event properties. You define event properties upfront to make sure your business stakeholders get the complete value. Today, we are going to go into the GA4 interface. So let me share my screen and then we'll go from there. So I am in Google Demo Store, Merchandise Store here. What we will be going through is the complete interface and look at each of these sections one by one. So Google Merchandise Store is a free demo account that you guys can get access to. And this is where you can look at all your reports if you don't have a site to play with. However, I highly recommend those who are learning GA4 to create a site. Well, you'll need traffic as well. But if you can maybe find a friend's site or somebody else's site where you can play with, because that's the best way to learn. You can tweak stuff, you can look at the stuff and get familiar with it. There is no substitute for trying it out. So you have to just try it out and play with it. That's the only way you're going to learn. The more you play with it, the more you're going to learn. So first, let's go to the home. This is what you will see when you come log into GA4 first. So this home screen gives you a quick snapshot of your website or tracking on app. How many users are you have, how many event counts. Now, raw event count doesn't make much sense, but it tells you the number of hits your site is getting. As you remember from last time, GA4, you guys can see my screen, right? GA4 counts every single action as an event. And all those events then are being tracked like individually. And all those events have information that tells us what kind of event that is. So page view is an event. And scroll is an event. Button click is an event. Person staying on your site for 10 seconds or more is an event. So raw event count doesn't make much sense, but it gives you the number here. Then you have number of conversions. Whatever actions you define as conversion points, we'll cover conversions in a future lesson, but you get the count of conversions. These are the desired end actions that you want to track. These are your business objectives. These are based on your business objectives and goals. And then you have a new user count. Then you see users in last 30 minutes, gives you a snapshot of recently accessed reports. So you looked at retention report, report snapshot, explore, configure, etc. So you can see which of these were recently accessed by you. Then you have a section that gives you suggested for you. These are the reports that you should look at. Google suggests these based on what they're seeing across the properties. I believe this section will actually be improved further, because if you're an e-commerce site and they figure out, hey, these are the types of reports every e-commerce client looks at, they might suggest that for you. Plus, I think they can take your own user behavior on the reports, your stakeholders that are using these properties, to suggest the reports that you should look at. So this is a great section to see what others are looking at. You can click here to scroll through these reports. So explore. If you're not familiar with GA4, this might be a great way for you to get familiar with it. Then you have insights and recommendations, where you can see the insights that are provided by Google based on their algorithms. So they use your data, and then based on their machine learning algorithm, they come up with these insights. So something to pay attention to. Really useful for starting out with GA4. Similar to Home, they also have a report within report section called Report Snapshot. It's a bit different. I'm not sure why they have created two things, Report Snapshot and Home. They could probably merge those together. But these report snapshots are based on your reports and give you very similar information. Users, it doesn't give you event count, but gives you new users, engagement time, total revenue, etc. You can see users in last 30 minutes. This is one of the things that you'll always see in last 30 minutes. And then insights again, and then where your users come from, what are your top campaigns? Those who are running campaigns, they'll see those, and you have users by country information. Again, a helpful report. This is a bunch of cards, as they call it, that give you information. All of those cards are in this report. So you can see all various cards here. Now, how Google Analytics organizes the reports are by lifecycle. And I'll come back to real time in a few minutes, but by lifecycle. This is a life cycle of a customer. So customer becomes aware of your product, services, site, and that is where you acquire them, right? They become aware, they come to your site. They might see an ad, they might hear from a friend, they might get an email, whatever that source is, then they click on that source and come to you. That's called acquisition. So you'll see the customer's first step is you need to acquire that customer. Once the customer is on your site, you need your site's job is to engage them, drive them towards conversions. So then you have engagement metrics, and then finally you need to make money from them, right? You sell something to them, whether it's like they watch advertising on your site, whichever way you're trying to make money, you'll see that in monetization. And then they're not sure, again, this is GA4. Those who have been using GA4 will know that GA4 keeps providing, making changes and random stuff. So here is, they provided retention reports in overview as well. So here is a retention. How good are you in retaining these customers? So that's how your reports are organized according to the life cycle. You can modify it if you would like. And I'll show you how you can modify them. Then there is a real-time report, a great way for you to know what's happening on your site right now. If you've been using UA, you know there are real-time reports as well, but this real-time report is all in one screen rather than having to click through different tabs. So you have users in last 30 minutes, users by their source. How are you acquiring those users? Users by audience type, audience classification, are they users, non-purchasers, etc. and you can define your audience types or audience. Audience is just a group of users that belong to a certain, they have certain common characteristics. So all users are everybody. Non-purchasers are people who haven't purchased, who are recently active, engaged users, page views with greater than 8 pages, etc. So you can define those audience group. Then you have the pages report, which pages people are looking at. You'll see those page title and screen names. And then you have events. Events are, every event is listed here. Clicking on the event will take you into the event parameters that you're tracking along with that event. So keep that in mind. Event parameters define their context. Clicking again will show you the value that's contained in that event parameter as well as the count. So here you can see there are event parameters, and total event is 552, and you can see a bit of difference here. But every page or every event, you can drill down further to see what people are looking at, what the parameters are. Then you have events by conversions by event name. So where here is event count, here is the conversion by event name. And then finally, you also have user properties. So everything is right here in one screen. This is a great way for you to debug. If you just ran a campaign, if you made certain changes, you can come here and debug those. There are other debug features also available, but if you don't want to go through those, you can quickly come here and glance. Not everybody is technical enough to watch everything. So in that case, you might just give your stakeholders this screen and say, hey, click here, go there, and you will be able to see your events and parameters. Okay, so that is what this provides. Those who are interested in just watching how traffic is going, this is the report to come to. Next section is a demographic and technical section. So in demographic, you will find information about users on your site. This is like country information, city, age, interest, gender, etc. You're not going to get everything unless you enable Google Signals, which is a connection you make with Google, but certain things will be available for you, right? So I'm gonna pause here, check the comments, and then I'll come back and make sure everything is going as expected. Okay, so it seems like everything is fine. I'm gonna go back to Google Analytics and right here. Okay, then you have the technology. Technology tells you what devices or technology people are using it. Very, very critical information. Two things I will call out here. And throughout this theme, you'll hear me talk about this. The purpose of analytics tool like Google is not to just measure. It is to find insights and help business move forward. So every time you look at a report, you should ask yourself, how does it help me? And how does it help my business or my stakeholders? Think about those. Why should I care? Just because Google provided something does not mean you have to use it. If you can find a business use case for it, great. That's when you should use it. Or you look at a report and say, how can it help my business? By knowing people, which country people are coming from, what are you going to do with that? Let's say you only ship within United States. You don't need people from Canada, India, China coming to your site, right? So why are people coming? Always ask this question, why? Why is somebody coming? Why is this happening? Are you optimized for certain keywords? Is your targeting off? Are you emailing people that are not, you bought an email list and you're emailing people who are not in your region or the area that you serve? That's how you use it. Age. You're selling certain clothing, merchandise that's specific to a particular age or gender. Why are you getting people from other genders and other age ranges? What are these people doing? Maybe your messaging is off. Maybe your advertising is off. Maybe you need to change certain things on your site, because if you get a lot of people within a certain age range and you're not catering to them, maybe you should increase your merchandise selection. I don't know. It really depends on every business is different. So that's how you need to think about these reports, every single report. So technology is the same way. Technology, however, gives you more insights for your development. Are we testing our sites on the right platforms? Are people able to see everything on their screen if they are using that technology? That's how it helps. Is your site slow on certain platforms? Have you not tested certain things? Those are the things that you will be able to figure out by looking at these reports. So that's technology. Within acquisition, now I'm going to go back here in the life cycle. Within acquisition, you have user acquisition and traffic acquisition. I'll go over those details in the future lessons, because all I'm doing here is 30-minute sessions. And in those 30 minutes, I'm going to cover one topic at a time. And today is the interface. Within acquisition, you have user acquisition, which is how you're acquiring the user. This is new users. That's called user acquisition. Then there is traffic acquisition. And traffic acquisition means how are you getting the sessions, people back. So user is for the new users, like how are we getting them? And traffic is how the sessions are coming. So not new users, but user acquisition. How are the users finding that? And then you have engagement. Engagement is all about events, conversions. Every event is captured here. Conversion is the end desired goal, which pages people are looking at, and what are the landing pages. If you have been using Universal Analytics, you're pretty familiar with these things. And then you have monetization. In monetization, there is e-commerce report. There are in-app purchases. Those who are doing apps and have in-app purchases, you can track them here. And then if your site serves ads, so think Yahoo, right? They sell a lot of ads. MSN, they sell a lot of ads on their sites. Wall Street Journal. They are publishers, right? Those who don't know publishers and advertisers. Publishers are who serve those or show those ads, and they own the site. Advertisers advertise. So publisher ads is how you can see the performance of those ads that you're showing on your site and how you are successful in monetizing them. Ads are sold in different ways. Some are sold by clicks, some are sold by 1,000 impressions, some are sold by sponsorship, etc. So there are several ways how publishers sells their ads. But you can track the publisher ads performance in this tab, in this report. So that's kind of the overview of these reports here. Now you can modify these reports by going into the library section. In the library section, you can arrange this menu any way you want, any reports that you want. Again, I'll cover the details in a future lesson. Then you have Explore. Explore is where you will be spending a lot of time, or you should be. The way Google Analytics has been built so far, it might change. Google Analytics 4 has been built. Google Universal Analytics was built more for reporting purposes. You go there, you have tons of reports. You go and figure out the report that you want, etc. And then you look at the numbers, you put those numbers. If you are analyzing, you might analyze within that report interface. However, GA4 is built more for analysis. There are reports, as I showed you, but it's built for deeper analysis. And I've seen a lot of people complaining about this. GA4 is not built for that, not built for, I can't get these report, I can't get this report. Sure, there are certain things which were missing. They're providing those things, but you can build a lot of those reports types using either Exploration or Looker Studio. I am a big fan of data analysis, right? That's the purpose. Otherwise, there's no point in measuring. And this Exploration gives you a chance to measure, to explore the data and to dig deeper. You click here to start a new exploration. and then you pick your dimension, metrics, segments, etc., to build your exploration. There are several things about the exploration, which again will be covered in future lessons as we dig deeper into each of these reports and explorations. But those who are starting out are keen on jumping in, look at exploration. And then you have advertising features. If you have those, you're doing advertising, you can see what channels are driving, which kind of is similar to what you see in your user acquisition and traffic acquisition, but this goes into providing you the attribution models. So when you look in advertising, you can see attribution models. You can compare different models. You can look at the conversion paths, etc. So you can look at all that activity to see which channels are effective in driving purchases, conversions, etc. on your site. So that's what the advertising section does. In addition to this, there is an whole admin section. But in the admin section, there are several things. I'm not going to go into detail of those things, but this is where you manage a lot of, how your data shows up. The admin panel here is different than what you might have been used to in Universal Analytics. You'll see there are no views. We talked about this, I think, in the last session, but in GA4, there is no concept of views. You'll see, you'll also be spending a lot of time in events that lists you all the events that you have in your reports, the conversions and audiences. Clicking on the events will show you all the events that you're tracking. Conversions are any events that you, and I don't have admin access here, but if you go to event, you can flip a toggle button here. This is Google Merchandise Store, so I don't have access to it, but you can switch a toggle button here, and anytime you toggle that, it shows up in conversions. So basically, you can take any event and convert it into a conversion. So let's say here, you can see add payment info. I think it is one of them is toggle, yeah. So let's see, go to conversions, and you can see the conversion is add payment info. To remove it as a conversion, you just untoggle it. I'll show that in another session where I'll go into the details of event tracking. Okay. Here you can also link to different products. One of the things, first thing you should always do, and there is a video that I've gone through on how to link GA4 to BigQuery. So if you are serious about data analysis, I always recommend linking it to BigQuery. BigQuery gives you raw access to the data that you can then use to analyze, combine it with other data sources, as well as validate your reporting. I have an ebook that I gave out, which talked about, I think 8, 9, 10, I don't know, maybe some 10 plus reasons to why you should link GA4 to BigQuery. So you can do that here. In addition, there is also a debug view that allows you to see the debug the activity that's happening on your site. So you can pick a device and you can see all the activity that this person is doing. It's their first visit, page view, session, etc. Again, don't worry about it. I'm showing the interface today. Then I'll go dig deeper into each of these sections because there is a lot to learn. Some of you might just go and click here based on what you learned today and figure out how everything works. But I'll go into the details. Those who want to wait, go step by step, wait for future sessions. All right. So that's about the admin interface. Now let's go back to reports. In reports, you will see certain things up here. You have comparisons, a way to share the report, and you can also look at the insights. So if I click on insights, it gives me various questions that people might ask, and that's what these insights are. So let's say, I think I canceled that. Yeah. How do I go back here? Come on. Well, refresh it. I don't know. There was a button here. I can't find it anywhere. But these are the insights that it will show you. And then in addition to that, you notice that there is comparisons. Comparisons allow you to compare the data. So you can add a comparison. Comparison allows you to pick a dimension. Let's say if I want to look at only users from a certain country, then I can add that here and apply. Now I can see these comparisons. Sort of like segments that you had in Universal Analytics. They're not quite segments, but they're comparisons. And once you exit out of your reports, these things are gone. So again, it's built for analysis. It's not built for reporting. Keep that in mind. It might change. For now, that is what it allows you to do. Hey, I want to look at how people from India are doing compared to all users. I can come and do that here. You can add up to 5 comparisons. So we already added 1. You can add 4 more. So this is how you can compare different data sets. Okay, so that's one thing that you will be looking and using at. You already know there are the reporting, that calendar here. Keep in mind, GA4 by default keeps the data only for 2 months. You should change that in the admin panel to 14 months. If you are interested in how to do that, there is a video that I created. Actually, there was a video that I uploaded last week, which talks about how to increase the data retention in GA4. And so in simple words, it's like by default, it's 2 months. You can go to the admin, change it to 14 months. And if you want it forever, because you are going to, then send it to BigQuery. Those who are analyst type, everybody should be. Not when I say analyst type, those who are not technical and not very keen on improving the technical skills to go the technical route, but go into more of data analysis route. And they should definitely learn BigQuery. That's it. If you're going to be working in Google Analytics, you should learn BigQuery. And those who want to learn, come join my Opticent Academy, where you'll learn everything that you need to learn. So we'll help you figure out. Oh, can you guys still hear me? Let me see. All right, my audio might have disconnected, so let me just make sure. Audio. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Just tell me, because this is one of the things that I don't like about live sessions, because I don't know when you guys can hear me or not. Waiting. Okay, great. Sorry about that. This always happens. Things go wrong. So what I was saying is, for practice, you can go to Google, onto Google and search for Google Demo Store. You will see Google Demo Store, Google Analytics. You will be able to see a link that walks you through the steps of linking to Google Analytics. Okay. And once you do that, you will be able to connect and see the data that I'm seeing. Now, other way for you to do that is to go to your local NGO, nonprofit, your friend's friend, whoever has a site, and ask them to let you do analysis. Offer them something in return. Hey, I'll be able to do reporting for you if you give me access. I'll be able to not only learn, but help you as well. They might be able to do that. And the third option is you can join Academy, Optizent Academy. You get practical experience. As I said last time, students go through those, they find amazing jobs because they have experience to back up, not just saying, hey, I practice on Google Demo Store or I practice in this sandbox environment, but you have a real business that you can apply these to. Students also get to work and see how we do stuff. So when I'm doing something, some of my students join and they look at how I approach stuff. This morning, I was doing an exercise with some of them. So that's another way to learn, to get the data that you need for analysis. Any other questions? No? All right. If there are no other questions, then we're done for today. I would love to hear from you about what you want to learn in future lessons. And those who are interested in learning more, here is what I would suggest you do. Join I'm putting the link in here. Join the membership. All right. Okay, I think we're done. There are no more questions. So thank you, guys. I'll see you next week. Let me know. Send me a comment. If you can't send me an email, just leave a comment here. Let me know what topics would you like me to cover in the future lessons.